Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're as excited as I am to be this close to Christmas. And we have just a beautiful, beautiful sunshiny day here in Shimoda. I've got to say, I've said it before, I love the weather in Shimoda. It's probably about 14 or 15 degrees right now, and we're just days from Christmas. Beautiful. We get sunshine here 90% of the days between like November and March. So the winters are just fantastic. Nights still get a little bit cold, never below zero, but yeah, I love the weather. Anyway, got a bunch of stuff to do today. I'm going to be all over the map here, down in or up on the mountain. I've got some more trimming to do at my driveway. The driveway off of this road up into the mountain property. And I did actually clear that, oh God, 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. But it's all grown back, and I've got to clear it again or trim it out, clear it up again and make it ready for some concrete. And don't know when that's going to happen, but I hope that's going to happen in the next couple of months. So get that ready. Also want to clear away some twigs and some bramble that I cut down over the past couple weekends of work. I really hope I can get to planting some trees. You see me cutting a lot of trees, but I'm going to be planting some more trees today. And as you know, I'm passionate about palm trees, and they're native to this part of Japan. Some of them are. Actually, the one that I really want to plant today isn't, but it's a beauty. So look forward to that. Also, time permitting, I've got to get up and try to wash the solar panels. So very, very busy today. Just look at this lush forest, beautiful trees. Look at this beauty. Okay, let's get started. I just want to share this with you. Now this one isn't a weed. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but this is 2 inches of trunk that has grown up over just 3 years. It stands about maybe 3 meters. Was that 9 feet, 10 feet high? When you cut a tree and leave a big enough stump, it gets like an adrenaline surge, I've heard, and really takes off in growth. All of the nutrients come to try and preserve the stump, and it sends up some pretty aggressive growth. And this 2-inch trunk, which is about 3 meters or 4 meters high, 12 feet high, came up over the last 3 years. This property isn't huge, but it's 3 acres, and there's a long road frontage on the road, and so depending on where I'm working, I have to carry tools from one end to the other. So I often use my little wheeled buggy here, my cart, to help me get around. You can see at this time of the morning, we're getting almost full coverage on this second array. Just the upper right corner gets shade from that orange tree, and I really don't want to cut down the orange tree. Kind of a sacrifice. Okay, while I take a coffee break, sipping my Canadian Kicking Horse coffee, which this one happens to be the Kick-Ass blend, a nice dark, bold blend. I'm going to share a brief bio or background. I've had repeated requests for, what's my backstory, what brought me here to Japan. And so I'm going to take 2 minutes and just share that with you. And I kind of thought about this, and actually I've tried to do this twice now. But each time I did it in the past, either the camera something went wonky with the camera, out of focus, or didn't record, or the mic went really strange. So this is the third time's a charm, we hope. So I'm going to describe my experiences in decades. I'm that old. The 80s, okay? I came to Japan before university in the 80s. And my first job was as a salesperson for Philips Electronics. We were selling English language learning cassettes or, language lab learning programs. We weren't teachers. We didn't have teachers on staff, but we were a bunch of sales guys, a bunch of foreigners who didn't speak any Japanese for the most part, and we were just working the expat crowd. And that was my first experience. I really liked it. So then we get to the 90s, and the 90s started with my first degree, which was an undergraduate Bachelor of Arts in Japanese language and literature. And the 90s ended with my second degree, an MBA. And in the middle of that, in the mid-90s, I was here in Japan. And actually then, for 7 months, or maybe 8 months, I was an English teacher in a junior high school. And I was a horrible English teacher. By the fact that I didn't even make it one full year. I was awful. I walked out of it. It was a bad experience for the students. It was a bad experience for me. So I ended up actually becoming a magazine editor for a small English language magazine that serviced the expat community. And I was a writer also at the time, an editor for the magazine. And I did graphic design. We were a very small company, so we had to do everything. And I kind of excelled at the graphic design bit, and I did get quite a few publications under my belt then. But the graphic design bit inspired me, and I left that company to start my own graphic design company in Tokyo. And I had one major customer, Toppan Printing, and they actually, heralded me as their only foreign vendor in all of their experience. And Toppan Printing has centuries of history in Japan. I don't know if it's centuries, but long decades of history. So they were my bread and butter, and then I had a bunch of other small contracts that helped me survive for several years as an owner operator in Tokyo. Then left Tokyo, went back to Canada, got my MBA. And then the 2000s started my corporate gig. In the 90s and 80s, I was this freewheeling, backpacking, kind of creative guy. And then I went to business school, and I came back and I became a suit. And so I started working for Dell Computer in Tokyo on, I think it was January 6, 2000, just like 10 days after I finished my degree. And I spent 12 years with Dell and really loved it. I spent some time back in Toronto with them, and I spent several years here in Tokyo, in Japan with them. Then that was the 2000s. Then in the 2010s, I transitioned. I worked for Dell for a couple of more years. I worked for another software company for a couple of years, and I worked for my current company, also a computer manufacturer, the largest in the world, for the last 9 years. So that has been my career for 22 years now, is computer manufacturing. I started out as a marketing manager, became a sales director, had teams in Korea and Japan and China, and now I'm in operations. And so the third leg of the stool, we like to say. So that's it. That's my career. I came to Japan as a backpacker, started out in sales, loved it, and kept coming back. I am happily married, got a lovely wife, and we're soon going to be living here on the mountain, looking out over the ocean, sitting on the deck, having a barbecue. So I hope this was not too long and boring. Thanks for asking. This one's for you, Barry. And let's get back to work. Okay, I'm going to start trying to wash the solar panels now, and I'm going to start on array number 1, which is on top of this old mountain shack. So in order to wash it, I've got to get water. In order to get water, I've got to get the power hooked up to the pump and to the tank up just under the eave of the old mountain shack. So let me get onto that stuff. There's, I just saw that's the second mouse. Mice are hiding in my engine. Okay, I didn't hear the power go on, so something is amiss. Okay, on, everything's on. This is the main power. This is on. Boom, that's it. Just like new. Okay, that's been a long, arduous journey just to get power and water running again. But now I turn on the tap, it should be coming out on the brush up top, and I go up and I start scrubbing. Okay. Success. Well, now the work starts. Now let me just add, what does all this have to do with my backstory? What is this homesteading and Shimoda life and stuff? How did my backstory lead to this? And the fact is, there is no real connection. I've got no construction experience, no land forming experience. I've never driven excavators or managed large properties before. I've really done none of this before, so this is all new. And so coming to Japan and getting started on my own piece of land is all very new and exciting to me. And that's pretty much it. This is my third year cleaning these, and I have not found a good way to do it. Actually, this year I did buy a floor polisher, essentially. I bought it on auction, but it turns out that it's like 40 kilograms. I didn't read the description well enough. It is really solid, and if I brought it up here and it tipped over even once, it would shatter the panel. So, plus it's electric, and I've got electrical cords flopping around here with the hose. So this isn't ideal. It's very difficult. The configuration is not amenable to cleaning. See, it's starting to get root bound, but it had a lot of escapees where I had it sitting at my home. I think it's still going to be just fine once it gets into this lush earth. It's going to break apart, and each of these little roots is going to go its own way. It's going to be good. tell you just a little bit about this lovely palm. This is the Bismarckia nobilis, or the Bismark palm, and it's actually native to Madagascar, and it likes warm weather. So I'm taking a bit of a risk here, but it's been in the pot outside at my house in Shimoda for 3 years now. And it's got a well-developed root system. Since it just in the last year it started sending those longer roots, those exploratory roots out of the pot and down. Since it started doing that, it actually started sending up new shoots. So I think it's going to be good. I decided, seeing I was here and shovel in hand, to put my second cherry tree in the ground. Some of you regular viewers will recall I pulled 2 cherry trees out of my hobby palm orchard back in town, and planted one over there and the second one here now. In a few years, these are going to give us a shower of blossoms every spring. Well, I mean, the fact that it's beautiful up here, takes a little bit of the edge off of how crazy difficult and dangerous this is. I'm slipping all over the place. There's no good footing, but Shogunai, there's nothing else we can do except do it. So, thanks very much for hanging around this far. I'm going to continue on for a little while and try and stay out until the sunlight disappears, and then I'll call it a day. Have a good day.